Okay. um, hello. Welcome back to another Slow Sewing Sundays late night edition. I feel like the few of them have been late night editions because I still don't have a regular time that I'm doing these. But anyway, I'm just still happy to be doing these at all. I've had this um, channel, this whole sewing channel, DIY Raven. Yeah, I've had that name since like 2011. I think that's when I started this YouTube channel. And for the life of me, I've never been this consistent. so, um, yeah, it's been a feat. It's been a journey. It's been a feat. So, thank you if you ever pop in. Appreciate you so much. Um, I feel like I got really great response on this machine. It's super cute. I had two people in the comments um, talk about how one person was talking about how they gifted this to their daughter, another person to their granddaughter. Um, and like, I just think this is like the perfect machine, a machine that I definitely wish I had. But to be fair to my own mother, she did give me a machine. Um, I wasn't 8 or 9 though. I believe I was a little older, but I did let it sit a while. You know what? No, it wasn't that young, but I did let it sit a while, like several years in my closet before I actually like pulled out and like didn't get scared. Hold on. Am I lying? I think I'm lying because now that I think about it, when I was really young, she didn't get me a machine like this at first. She got me a machine that was like really little. It's kind of like the Janome So Mini, but I think even smaller than that because this was more of a toy. So it did like do some sewing, but it was like, yay, you're sewing two pieces of cloth together. It was a really cute little machine, but it was just something to learn on. But then she did get me like an actual like brother sewing machine, and that's the one that I let sit in my closet forever before I took it out and decided to try to do anything with it. So, anywho, it sounds like that's not the case with these ladies in my comments that their daughter and granddaughter daughters are actually use the machine. So that's fantastic. Um, oh, and one of the commenters, Laura Lee, I believe her name is, she was telling me that actually there were two things that I had missed. So, and I don't know if this is all machines because I swear I never did this. It never hindered me ever, um, like winding the bobbin at all. But when you're starting to wind the bobbin, at least on this machine in particular, you pop this out. That you do that first, and that stops the needle from going up and down. So maybe that was just a me thing that I didn't know that, and everybody's like, "Oh yeah, that's just what you do." But for me, that was like, "What?" She also mentioned that when I was uh, doing this live last week, that there is a thread cutter on the side. But I'll be honest, I like the nerd I am. I was trying to watch a YouTube video, and I started getting how you get into the YouTube rabbit hole, and so I kind of got a little distracted. But I also pulled out my trusty manual. I couldn't because I couldn't find it, but I also couldn't find it in the manual either. But I know with like machines like this, sometimes they have like little variations that they'll have. It'll be like the same machine, but there's something just a little bit different. So maybe there's like another model of this machine that basically looks like this, that has like a thread cutter. But this one, I tried to find it and I didn't see any blades there. But again, totally fine. I have my scissors. I am good. We are good. Yeah, this thing hums. So last video, I felt like I was just kind of just trying to debut it, you know, like, oh, let me pull this out of the box, let me try it. But I'm really enjoying it. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna keep going, especially on this project that's seemingly taking me forever. Yeah, and just gonna keep going. So yes, does anybody else just really enjoy looking in the sewing manual? I mean, I don't do it all the time, but I never mind it. Like if something goes on with my sewing machine, or if there's like I'm like, what do I use this sewing foot again? How do I do the buttonhole, you know, thingamajig on this machine? I love going into my trusty manual and figuring it out. But you know, anybody I think that's owned a sewing machine and has done a little bit of sewing, you kind of know you don't have to love that, but you do have to be able to be a little bit of a mechanic sometimes and be willing to like get under the hood and not be like super afraid of like being like, okay, what's wrong? And it's just such a win whenever you like figure it out, whether it's like a tension issue or whatever. Anywho, tangents. That's what I do. So I hope everybody's had a good week. Hope things are well. This weekend, I've been a complete bum. I had girl dinner all day yesterday. I shouldn't even share this information, but I literally, like, I didn't cook anything. So Friday night, that's when like the chillin' hard really started. After I got off work, I think I immediately probably took a nap or like went under some sheets and just like laid there. Had such good intentions, but anyway, then it was like, I'm not gonna cook anything. Door dashed. That's a trap. It was kind of late at night. Got like we ordered burgers and from this new place, and I get veggie burgers. Veggie burgers are so hit or miss. I think it's a consistency thing. I mean, I miss meat sometimes. But the thing about just a regular burger is, you know, the patty has oomph to it, you know, and a lot of times veggie burgers can be can be kind of soft. It's like a consistency thing. Anyway, so it was a bean burger. It was just okay, but had to have fries. Never had gotten this place. It's called Z Burger. I don't know if it's everywhere, but to me, when I look at the actual establishment, I don't know why it looks like it's made up, or it would be something like it would be an establishment I would see like in Back to the Future or something. I don't know. Anyway, it's kind of cartoony looking to me, but I was like, you know, haven't done that. Try that. They had regular size fries, and then they had like, you know, a larger fry, which it was kind of expensive for the fries, and I didn't understand why until it actually came, because I was like, yeah, I don't need all these fries. I'll just split it with my roommate, my partner. So anyway, but by the time we both were eating these fries, the fries were huge. It was so many fries. I love fries, but it was just a lot. So saying all that to say, all yesterday pretty much was just because I have no qualms with like eating fries the next day, like reheating cold fries. Like, I'll do it. And I was just basically, whenever I wanted to eat, I just took out more fries out of the fridge, warmed them up, either used ranch dressing, or if I was feeling, you know, no. Yes. I said that backwards though. either I was using ketchup, or if I was feeling freaky, I was using ranch. But I don't think ranch is. I think ranch is pretty basic at this point. Anyway, so off topic. This is how I am at like sewing retreats too. I just kind of talk a lot. Okay. But yeah, so it's just been a really relaxing, chill, haven't been wanting to do anything weekend. And it's very much like me not to do any sewing all week. So I'm in the same spot as I was last time, but that's okay. That's partly why I do this, so I could set out at least a little time focusing on the thing that I love that a lot of times I don't really focus on. But somehow, if I do it in front of you, I'll do it. Okay. So we can get back into the project as a reminder. Working on probably be working on this for months. But this is the Roscoe Blouse and Dress by True Bias. Doing that version here because I would like a dress for the spring. So yeah. Okay, so last time, let me adjust this. Yeah. So last time we were together, I basically kind of was starting with the neckline there. So that's basically just where I'm picking up from. So again, didn't get far. But like a plant, we're going to just bloom where we're planted. Yeah. Oh. Oh gosh. Okay. Yeah, I remember this part. That's right. Oh. Like, so I was getting to the part where I was like, oh man, am I really going to need an iron? And I may. But I'm going to see how long I can avoid the whole iron thing. Excuse me. If I can. And use my trusty seam roller. Lover. It's definitely a tool that is optional, but for me, I kind of think it's necessary. Oh, which reminds me, I was saying that because I'm lazy, and it reminded me of what I titled this video today. All my titles are like bad blog post titles. Just because usually a lot of times I don't know exactly what I'm gonna do or talk about, in these lives. It's just kind of random. But I'm not the clickbaity type. So I'd rather just put like a title that's kind of about something, but also kind of vague. So lazy girl, when I put something like lazy girls love French seams, that's the truth. I'm kind of a lazy sewist, but I'm also a perfectionist. So like, and I love French seams, and they are so clean, and French seams work so lovely on lighter fabrics like this rayon, just because since you're kind of doing the two-step process where you're encasing a seam, which is how it looks so beautiful once you do it. The fabric or the material is so thin, it accommodates that really well. If you've ever tried to do like a French seam on something like a denim or something thicker, you can do it. It'll make a strong seam and it'll be nice. So I can see doing that like on a tote bag, maybe that's unlined. But the movement would be weird. But if you're doing something like a tote bag, you want something like that's a little more structured, so that would be perfect. But something like this, where we want flowy, we want movement, that kind of thing. This is perfect. Also, what spurred? So I have my serger. It's out of the frame, but it's right here where you could imagine my hand would be if you could see it. Um, but sometimes I just don't want to use the serger, and I think because I'm kind of obsessed with this sewing machine right now, I just want to use it. So, and the sewing of anything is my favorite part, so I don't mind running extra stitches. So yeah, so long-winded. So yeah, I'm hoping that I will get far enough to where we will actually do a French seam. Again, this is kind of if I were to actually sit down and do this, probably without a camera and actually just sit down and focus, this is not a project that takes a long time. So, yeah. Let's see how far we get. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna have to cut this down. Okay. To situate myself. So I have to trim the sides and the bottom of the facing to 5/8 of an inch. I'm not gonna measure it out, but sometimes I like to look at a like a ruler or something, just to be like, oh yeah, that's right, that's what 5/8 of an inch looks like, and then I just you know do it on my actual fabric because I'm a rebel. Okay. Oh, I don't want to get up because I'm lazy. I gotta have something right here. Can you? No, I guess you can't see that. Looking in me drawers. You know what? I think I remember what 5/8 is. We're just gonna eyeball it. I got this. Yep, so 5/8 all the way around. Okay, and then we'll what? Pull facing through. Da, 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 da. Okay, so now I'm turning up the edges. So this is the back side. This is the facing. I'm basically gonna turn under the edge. You can't see that. So I'm gonna turn under this edge. all the way around. And that's what I'm going to use this trusty thing. Again, it doesn't lay it down as well with rayon, but it's fine. I'm going to turn it under, press it for the most part, pin it, run a seam around, and then press it again with this. It's totally fine because at the end of this, I'll do like a good pressing of the final garment, but I just don't feel like doing that right now. So I won't. That's like honestly another thing that I love so much about sewing. It's kind of one of those things where like you more or less learn the rules of the road, so to speak. But there's so many ways to do something in sewing, and then you kind of adapt and kind of like create your own style, or you can just say, you know what, I'm gonna do it like this, and it's okay. I think that's probably one of the coolest things about sewing to me, is you just kind of do it how you want. I doubt you could hear it, but my computer, my poor computer. I mean, honestly, she's a champ. She's holding up great. This laptop is probably 6 years old, but she is screaming. So she's breathing real hard. But this live is still happening, so she's a trooper. I love the way rayon like lays on you, but ooh, I do not like working with it. I don't. I love the way it feels. I love how like breathable it is, blah blah blah. I love that it comes in like all these like wonderful like punchy colors and designs and all that stuff, but it's so creepy crawly. I'm trying to also make sure like you can kind of see it, like what I'm doing. And that is proving a little difficult. But anything for you guys. I'm literally trying to sit here and like, which way should I pin it? Like I'm trying to think of like how I would actually run it under the machine. Sometimes I just do too much. Doing too much. I'm also kind of excited about this being making this completely out of French seams because one, I haven't done that in a long time. Like I haven't really like made a garment. I've made stuff out of rayon for sure, but I haven't made anything just completely out of French seams in a while for no particular reason. Um, but the few things I have, it's just I feel it feels to me it feels more secure to put something that I made with French seams into a wash than using a serger because sometimes even the serger true enough the last stitch on the serger I don't always finish properly. Meaning, like, that long thread tail, you're supposed to, like, take the end and, like, run it through, like, back through itself or something. I never do that. I just cut it and hope for the best, which has bit me in the behind many times because sometimes it starts coming undone. And it's all my fault. Like, I knew it was coming. I was just lazy. But with a French seam, it's completely encased and it's just such a good look. It's just so clean. And I think at the end of the day, I feel like if the innards, like your sewing guts of a garment, can look as good as your outside, you're doing all the right things, you know. Not to say if you're if the outsides aren't cute, you're not doing the right things, because there again, like, you know, everybody can do it like how they want to, but to me that's like optimal. All right, so I think we're pretty good pinned, and now we're gonna run it through the machine. I will say, this is definitely a machine which makes sense, especially the kind of machine it is. Your very basic machine. This little light is really not enough. I feel like you would need like some other light to kind of help. Um, yeah, another light would be ideal, be most ideal. I can see just fine. I also have this like spotlight deal coming at me because it is dark outside, so I can't rely on any natural light. Um, but yeah, I feel like I would need a secondary light if I was working on this machine. Okay. All right. Edge stitch it. so nice. It has such a nice like hum to it. I actually like this sound better than my I have another Juki that's kind of like this, you know, kind of more on the quote unquote basic side, but it is computerized. And I don't like how it sounds. It works great. It works just fine, but I'm definitely more partial to this sound. No. It's okay. Ooh, okay. We're gonna pivot here. Ooh, we're gonna pivot there. Oof. Whew, that could have been bad. I thought I was you know, sometimes like you may accidentally bunch up fabric and then you're sewing through your other material that you're not supposed to be sewing through. That's always fun. You know what I'm gonna do? Oh, excuse me. Um, so I made the mistake. I'll show you in a second. I made the mistake of like, you know, when you start a stitch, you backstitch a little, you go forward, and sometimes, especially with rayon, I feel like when you start, it doesn't always like that. So it kind of bunched it up really bad. Um, but I'm gonna do that trick where like, you so when you get to the very end, you take down your stitch length to like almost nothing. Um, okay, so that's what I did. I'm gonna bring it back up though. You can also do that with darts, and that's how you can end them without, because with darts you're not supposed to, you know, stitch back, stitch forward. Um, but you can end the stitch and it won't come loose if you take your stitch length way down, way down, because the stitches are so close together, they won't come undone. I'm sure a lot of you knew that, but just in case. Yeah. Just want to start singing "Isn't She Lovely" by what's his face, but I'm not. So this is the part where I told you where at the beginning I backstitched and I shouldn't have. But this is not a problem because I just brought my stitch length down way down, and I didn't have to do that at the beginning. All right, what's next? Knock that out of the park. Also, do you? Oh, well, I'll press it here. And pose the question: do you all? Nobody's here live, but I just want to know if anybody thinks to write anything in the comments. Do you all like to like clean up as you go and like snip your thread tails as you go, or is it one of those things where you do it like as if you're like a real garment worker, you know, where you know, like go, so, and then you at the very end you like worry about, you know, like cutting all the little threads. I feel like I do a hybrid. Sometimes I'm like, Raven, don't let it bother you. Just keep going. And then sometimes I'm like, I can't. It's bothering me. I gotta cut it now. So I think I'm more of a cut it as I go. But sometimes it just depends on what, I don't know. I'm in mood that day. I think that's what it depends on. So just using my little snips. All right. Actually, I probably should wait to the end. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Okay, so great. Turn the page. What's next? Okay. Right sides touching, match armhole portion of the front to the sleeve, matching the notches. So this is where I'm gonna start doing my first French seam, my first foray into French seaming on this garment. I've done a French seam before. You are talking to an expert, not an expert, but I've sewn for a long time, but it's never been super consistent. So it's like I'm quite experienced, but then I'm always like, how do I do this again? But French seams, I remember. Okay. Armhole of the front to the sleeve. Oh, well, that's not a good shot, but you know what I mean? It's real life, you know. I gotta reach. If I don't reach for the stars, I at least gotta reach for my fabric. Ruffle. Oh wow. I am eclipsing a lot though. Ooh, speaking of an eclipse, just really quick, is anybody excited about the eclipse on April the 8th? And if so, like, are you gonna be, is your area having the full eclipse or is it the partial? Because where I'm at in DC, it's gonna be a partial, but it's gonna be like 87%. And I don't know why I'm excited about this eclipse. Usually, like, they come and go. I never really like realize it's happening, or you know, whatever. And it is happening during work, but I'm getting off early. I want to go to the National Mall and check it out. I got my little glasses. I want to just, I don't know. It just seems fun, something to do. And apparently the next one, at least that's gonna be, I guess, visible to the U.S. This is, I don't know how ignorant that sounds, but the next one is gonna be in like 2044. So it's gonna be in another 20 years. So it's like, I want to see it, even if it's just gonna look overcast. I don't know, something to do. Okay, sleeve. Oh yeah, there's like nothing to this kinda. Wait, what is this? Back. Okay. I don't know why I'm looking for the front. I have the front in my hands. That's where there was work on the neckline. Jeez. Okay. Oh no. I just remembered that I think, well, at least I thought about this before I just started unpinning, but I think some of these I haven't like clipped the notches. That's okay. I can do that right now. Okay. I need a flat surface, so all right, I'm gonna have to get dirty. Just a second. Alrighty, hold on. We just show the work top for now. You know, I was just thinking when I was cutting the notches, um, I was just thinking about how I used to cut notches when I first started sewing. I mean, again, there's like no wrong or right way to do it. It's just literally your preference. But when I first learned, my mom has showed me to like wherever there's a notch to like. I'm sure a lot of people learn this way too. You cut the fabric on the outside, like you mirror that on the fabric, so you'd have like a flag out here, you know, like of fabric, and you would know like that's where the notch is, which can be helpful. But I think when you're cutting out a pattern, it just feels so cumbersome. But also too, it's like the only thing you know at the moment. But man, when I actually like took another class and they were like, yeah, you can just snip in, I was like, I'm never cutting out little triangles again. Oh, me? I'm just the only one that found that funny? Okay. All good. JK. Okay. Right sides touching, match armhole portion of the front up to the sleeve. Matching notches. All right. Okay. So, first thing about French seams though is usually you do right sides together. Not with French seams. You do wrong sides together. You do literally the opposite of what you would think to do. And you do that because you're going to do right sides together later. I will demonstrate. Happy to do it. Yeah, it's funny because as lazy as I am about it, I was just putting the pins back. As lazy as I am about sewing, once I get started, like, I'm all about it. I'm trying to do the most. And then I'm always like, why didn't I start this sooner? Typical. This looks like an odd sleeve, but I'm going to trust the process. I'm sure it's fine. Oh, because they kind of look like bell sleeves, but I think they gather at the end, so it must be like a big gather. So So I think I'm gonna actually try to put them together right sides together first. I'm sorry. Yeah, right sides touching first, just so I get the idea of like what is supposed to go with what, and then do the opposite, if that makes any sense. Just so I can orient myself um, properly. Okay. So this is the back. This is the front. Yep. Okay. All right. Ooh. Oh. Sorry. Okay. I think this is how it's supposed to line up. Wonderful. All right. Cool, cool, cool. Yeah. All right, so now I'm going to do the opposite of that. So I believe the seam allowance is 5/8 of an inch. So how does it go? I think I'm supposed to, my first stitch is supposed to be, okay, 5/8, a 1/4 inch. Yeah, I'm supposed to do a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and then I'll put the right sides together at 3/8 inch. So I'm completely encompassing the little seam allowance, the 1/4 inch seam allowance. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, I really, the last dress that I made with ruffles, it didn't love it, didn't love how it turned out, and with a quickness, because I made this in November, and I wore it like twice and was like, yep, not for me. I'm going to give her away. But this is yet another one with ruffles. Hopefully this will work out. But I'm excited about this one. You know, the thing was, the last one, it wasn't at all about the, sometimes you really just don't love the fabric anymore. I really like this fabric, and the fabric I used for the last one was nice too. It literally was the cut of the dress. So that one I've discussed in length, so I won't really go into it so much here, but I feel like I would only do it again if I did it all in black and like didn't do all the ruffle stuff. But I'm hoping this is different. To be honest, true bias patterns. I'm a fan. And I've done quite a few pattern tests for her. But her patterns, I just really like her style. It's like an elevated casual. It's nice. Okay. Let me see if I can bring this back. All right. So I think if I butt this up against, you can't see that, but against the presser foot, that should probably be about a quarter of an inch. Sure. Yeah, that should be right. Okay. Oh, that's right. I'm gonna start at the edge, not completely at the edge, and I'm gonna start with my needle in the fabric, bring my stitch length down, go forward just a little, bring my stitch length back up, and then go on my merry way. Oh, actually, hello. Alright. Again, I'm gonna bring my stitch length way down until it's all the way off. Bring it back up. Well, I guess I could have started with it, but just out of habit. All right. I was about to do this thing, but yeah, there's just nothing catching. It's okay. All right. So we did our stitch. A quarter of an inch. Now, what I like to do is it's not a requirement, but I like to butterfly the seam open or press open the seam. Even if it doesn't lay flat, that's fine. Again, it's like you're kind of training the fabric. It helps. It just kind of helps when you're trying to enclose the seam. It's something about it. It's like you can get a better crease or fold when you're encasing the seam. I don't feel like that was clear, but that's okay. I'll try to show you. I'll probably show you better than I could tell you. Maybe. Let's see. Open. Again, it doesn't have to, it's because it's not like, your quilting cotton, it's not gonna like lay super nice and flat. But again, it's just giving the fabric that kind of muscle memory of like, oh, you know, we've been opened before. All right. So now we were originally supposed to put the right size together. We're going to do that now. And so now when you make this fold here, somehow it just lays a little better. Because I call it butterflying the seam. Pressing the seam, same things. Pressing open the seam. Let's do it this way, I guess. So now I'm going to use this again. Again, it's not going to lay perfect, but it's going to be something. And actually, I think I'm going to use my clips. It's not mandatory because it's just not mandatory. Like, I could probably not use, like, I don't want to use pins, but I think clips would just kind of hold it better. So I don't have to personally. And especially too, like I'm not really using an iron. You really should do something like oh, hello. Sorry, I was probably really late to that, Daniel. I've been like yapping and looking at my fabric. So a late hi for me. But yeah, you really, again, I'm not trying to get into your sewing business because it's not mine, but it's like all those articles you'll read. I guarantee you, if you ever read any of those articles that are like how to make your clothes that you sew from home look more professional, they're always going to tell you to press or use the iron to press your seams open, or like basically every time you do a stitch you should also follow it up with an iron. So because I'm not using an iron, I feel like this really shouldn't be skipped. Even though it doesn't look like it's doing anything, trust the process. More lazy girl sewing, because again, this would probably be faster if I used an iron. But I feel like I always say this. By the time I hit an hour, I feel like y'all are over it. I feel like I'm over myself. And I don't feel like I'm making much sense anymore. So after basically I complete this French seam part, I will bid you all adieu. It's 10 p.m. here now. I kind of feel like I'm just getting warmed up a little bit. But I naturally sew slow anyway, but I definitely sew much slower on a live. And also a lot of that is because I don't know why I just start going into teaching mode. I like to explain what I'm doing as much as possible. What I'm doing and why. Again, everybody has a different preference, so I feel like somebody would look at this and be like, girl, I would have been and finished this seam a long time ago. I would put the right sides together. I would have just sewed a 5/8 inch seam, went behind with pinking shears, or just, YOLO'd it. But do it how you want. I love being my own boss. That's basically what you are when you're doing your own projects of whatever creation you're making. Okay. All right, I'm gonna take this and get to sew. Okay. All right, so I did 1/4 inch. So now I'm gonna do 3/8, which will guarantee that just basically 1/8 larger, but it will guarantee that we fully encase our first seam allowance that we made. Okay. All right, and just like the last time, I'm gonna put a needle down. Oop. I put my needle down into the fabric. Take my stitch length way, way down. Do a couple of stitches, take it back up, and then go. Alright, so this. Yep. This is the neckline part. This is our attached sleeve over here. This is our French seam. Oui. I need to I'm gonna go back over this again with my little presser tool, but I'll definitely reinforce a lot of these um, seams with heat later uh, when I actually do pull out the iron. So right now also pressing it again. I'm pressing it. I'm making sure that the enclosed seam allowance is pressed toward the sleeve. I guess if I cared, I could probably do like a top stitch, you know what I mean? So technically, I guess that enclosed seam wouldn't really necessarily go anywhere, but I don't care that much. Unless it says that. If it says that in the directions, sure. Let's see. Attach back to the sleeves in the same manner as the front. Finish seam allowances on both front and back sleeve in desired manner. Seam allowances should either be pressed open or away from the sleeves, depending on your finishing method. Away from the sleeve? What? Seam allowances should either be pressed open or away from the sleeves. I literally did it toward the sleeves. Okay. That's okay. I can change that. I feel like this little seam roller has been just a light suggestion anyway, so it's just like I can change that. Alright, I don't know why I'm boring all of this at this point. Ah. I really should be using an iron at this point. That's the thing, like, you know, you'll be lazy, but you're still, oh no, not my ashy elbow. I'll be lazy, but I still end up working hard, so, you know, make it make sense. Anyway, okay, back to me. So, as usual, didn't get too far, but this lazy girl has made a French seam. So I'm gonna continue this practice, not right now, but throughout this entire project. I think it'll look nice. Do you guys ever do that? Like, you're in the middle of a project and you start like trying to like what it'll actually look like on you. Okay, let me stop. All right, well, that was fun, as it always is. Went a little over hour 10 minutes. Yikes. But that's okay. Yeah. So, moving right along, not swiftly, quite slowly, but it's sewing. It's slow sewing. It's Sunday. Anyway. I'm gonna go. Thank you as always for watching. I appreciate it a lot. I have a lot of fun with these things. Even though I'm in the room by myself, it makes me feel like, we're hanging out. So that's the point of these. And it gets me in here actually sewing. So until next time, next Sunday, same sewing channel, not the same sewing time, but yeah, and the same sewing project. It's so hard to say goodbye, but thank you again. Happy sewing. Take it easy. Bye, Daniel. I'm out.